Still watching Smart Men's Business on the Smart 24. My name is Chantal and you are very welcome to the show. At this moment, we will be going straight into a topical discussion. But before that, I just want to let you know that if you are interested in buying and selling securities, your one-stop place is Zabo. Now, you just have to go to your phone, open your dial star 292 hash, only if you are an MTN user. I repeat, if only you are an MTN user, that is, you can do that. And it's already time because opening time is 8:15 in the morning and closing is 3:15 in the afternoon. So make sure that you do not miss out. Between that time, you can make some extra cash, especially because our income is taxed. I do have URA in the house. All of URA is in the house. Good morning once again. With me is Mr. Masembe Michael, who is the Acting Manager Tax Education Uganda Revenue Authority, and today we're going to be talking about income tax. Do note that this is education, or this is information that you need if you're a business owner, if you are intending to become one, if you are an employee, my friend, you need to pay attention. Good morning, Mr. Masembe.
Morning, Chantal. Thank you for having me here today.
You're very welcome, and welcome to Smart 24 once again.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
How are you? How is your Friday morning for starters?
It's a good morning. I started in a good place here, so.
And that's very important to start with.
I'm glad to be here.
All right. Welcome to the show. And let's dive straight into the discussion. Today we're talking about income tax.
Yes.
And in my own thinking, there is a lot that we need to know about income tax, and very many of Ugandans are not aware of why they're taxed in such a way and what percentages are taxed, and some do not know that they're even taxed. I don't know if you faced that challenge.
Indeed.
And the first question would be, there's different terms that are used when it comes to income tax, and I believe those are the terms that now we're going to have to break down for the Ugandan who is out there who feels like, oh, I'm also taxed. Some don't know that in some companies they don't have to be taxed. I don't know if that is true.
Entities, yes.
Some they don't have to be taxed.
Yes.
Great. So for starters, what is chargeable income? I believe it's part of income tax.
Yes, indeed. Okay. There is chargeable income, there is tax, and there is income. So it's really important that anyone who is viewing and following us in the program gets to first understand what is actually income. Okay, what is income? And as Uganda Revenue Authority, going by the laws that we are given to support the administration, we look at income as any earning. Any form of earning. It may be very hard to break down the form of earning that one is actually getting into their pockets, but any form of earning, it may be in terms of you having a job, it may be in form of you having sold an item, and you are in the business of selling. Or a service. It may be in the form of you benefiting from something that you own. Okay.
Oh, it could be a property. So, for example,
yes,
a house that I'm renting out or something like that.
Okay. Yes. Or you have a holding, a shareholding in a business, and yes, and you have dividends, or you have been you're a creator, and you have rights to an item, and whoever uses this item has to give you a payment in form of maybe royalties.
Right. Or that goes for content creators.
Exactly.
Oh, great.
And inventors and elements of the kind. So it depends. It is actually hard to define the form of income. But the nature of the income is what we really focus on. That you are into this kind of work, and when you do it, does it at the end of the day put earnings into your pocket, into your cash till? Then we say you have an income. And then that takes us to the next, to the question actually that you asked, what is chargeable income? Because we've seen there is income. You go into your farm, you take care of the animals, they give you milk, you sell it, you get income. You go into your garden, you farm the crops, you get that income. Other guys, they wake up and they know an opportunity where you need it. They will bring you business here at Smart 24, and they will tell you, I need my commission because they brought business here. That is their income. And so then we ask a question: should all of it, as it gets into my pocket, be taxed? Okay.
Now we're getting
yes. Then that we start talking about chargeable income. Of what I earn, what should be taxed actually? If I get my salary, should the whole of my salary be taxed?
Right.
So the portion of your income that is taxable, that should be taxed by URA, is what we call chargeable income.
The portion of your income that should be taxed is what we call chargeable income.
And so we look at chargeable income as what you have earned minus whatever should be subtracted from that income. I will give you an example. If you walk into a business right now and you're going to tell this business guy, yesterday I saw your bank account being credited with 10 million shillings. Therefore, I am going to tax that entire 10 million shillings. You're wrong. Because this guy, before he got the 10 million shillings credited on his account, he paid for rent where he works. He paid commission for the guy who developed that sale. Yes, brought the business. There is electricity. Whatever items you saw this guy sold, actually he procured them from a certain factory. So you must knock off all the expenses and costs that were involved in the derivation of this income. So whereas you see 10 million on the bank account,
maybe he only has 2 million.
Yes, a profit of only 2 million.
So in this, ideally, with this particular example, what is charged is, what is taxed is my profit.
Yes. And so whereas the person has a total income of 10 million, the chargeable income is the 2 million, which is the profit.
I would like to understand some of the challenges that you have faced with this particular process, because we do know that some Ugandans or business owners in Uganda do not do what we call bookkeeping.
Yes.
You walk into a place and they don't know how much they incur on a monthly, or they can't break down all their costs.
Indeed.
And you find a challenge because you don't even know how you're going to tax this person.
Exactly. So we have still a challenge, and you know the culture of record keeping and bookkeeping in the country is not so good.
Right.
It's not good. Even for me to say not so good, I
You're
am
being
trying
polite.
to be. Yes, it's not good at all. I have interacted with many businesses that, in reality, practically, truthfully, they had nothing happening in their enterprises through the COVID years.
Right. They were totally shut down.
They're shut down. But there is no record whatsoever of the zeros or anything that you will refer to.
But they think it's automatic we were closed.
Yes, of course you will understand. But it is hard for me to turn back a position to
go back to
yes, without a record that comes from you stating that there was no business within this period. If there was no business, report a zero to URA. Come and report the zero to Uganda Revenue Authority, and we will know that there has not been any business.
Right.
Okay, let's look at the worst of scenarios. Still, even during COVID, a guy was maybe in Ginger. He's gone to pick certain merchandise.
Right.
And while he was there, he was told public transport
was closed.
He has some perishable items locked in Kampala. And wherever they were locked, you cannot access them. So this gets all spoiled. There is capital in there, all that. We have people who lost merchandise during the period. Or if you have a fire, let's look at an accident for your merchandise. So whereas your SCs, you buying a lot of stuff from wherever you're doing your wholesaling into your shop, but you get an accident on the way. Let's see the police report. Let's see the fire report. So that record, yes, I could have seen it on the news that there is a fire that caught the warehouse.
Yes.
But if there is a police report, if you get into this experience and possibly you invite a URA officer or you visit a URA office and you talk through this and it is a minuted meeting, okay, we will understand that yes, we saw this person buying merchandise over 100 million, but fire gutted the entire warehouse and there is nothing for us to expect out of there. Otherwise, the 100 million worth of items not declared for taxes will hang over your head and we shall generate assessments for expected tax out of that merchandise, and there will be nothing actually to show from your side. So record keeping, like you were hinting, is very, very important, and it's a challenge. Now, on the URA side, in terms of providing business support, we gave the option and introduced this especially for taxpayers who registered for value-added tax. We introduced a system called the electronic fiscal receipting and invoicing solution.
Electronic?
Yes. Fiscal receipting and invoicing solution.
Okay.
It is especially for value-added taxpayers who are on whom the requirement to be keen on record keeping is very, very strict. So this system helps you if you use it via the web or via using the electronic fiscal devices. It helps you to keep an electronic record of your transactions. For URA, we have an instantaneous relay of the transactions as they happen on your side. So it will mean that even if there are scenarios where you're not able to issue a paper receipt or a paper invoice, there is an electronic record of that transaction.
Right.
So in a way, it has streamlined the reporting for value-added tax and ultimately for income tax at the end of the year. Otherwise, going by our traditional culture of business management, which is not good in the country, people don't keep records. It is the father, the owner of the shop, who knows the debtors, the creditors. He knows where he has the loans.
The wife shouldn't know.
You see, that kind
or
of...
the husband shouldn't know how much is being...
Exactly. So now that, in a way, keeps others in the shadows of whatever could be. They are not in the know of what is happening, and if you are away for a week or two, we will not know what else, what other information to run.
We would have to wait for you.
Yes. So it's a challenge.
Right. Speaking about income tax, we've so far defined what income tax is and what it entails.
Yes.
My question would be, who is taxed when you talk about income tax? Like, who is eligible for this kind of tax? Is it every Ugandan? That kind of detail, so that I know whether I'm evading tax or not.
Okay, you're speaking for many.
That's right.
That, yes. Who is liable? Who is eligible? Anyone who earns.
Anyone who earns. I am looking at this lady on the roadside selling maize in the evening. I am looking at this person. You know, when you're in traffic, these boys that come with hankies.
Yes. Okay.
Those are, you know, I'm taking it down to that kind of
the lowest
person.
Of,
yes. To the lowest, because these ones up there probably have a clue or two.
Okay. Now, then we ask, if it is anyone who earns, at which level of earning? I think that's where you actually...
At which level of earning.
Now, we look at levels of earning depending on one, profitability. Okay. Profitability, if we are looking at these highly set business setups, business setups. But you talked about this person, the small guy. For those, because of the culture of record keeping, like we have noted, it is not so good. We know that most of our small business operators are not able to keep all the details of records that may be expected from them. So them to derive a profit Okay, compute sales, knock off cost of sales, purchases, everything, determine gross profit. After gross profit, knock off all the expenses, yes, tell us the net profit. Okay, then other people go to earnings before depreciation and interest. There are those complicated things that you're not going to tell a shopkeeper on my way from home, wherever, in Kayaza, in Kasanga. You're not going to tell them that. Right. So the way the design of the tax regime has been made was make it simple for this guy. Let him just tell us the sales, only the sales.
Right.
And if your sales are below 10 million, there is no tax in a year.
That is for now when we go to the lower level.
Yes.
Okay. Where do we stop when it comes to at which level of person do we stop? Are we looking at maybe shopkeepers and below? Or you can even go to maybe the mini supermarkets and below, something like that.
Okay. It's any form of business, but for this, where we are saying we will only look at your sales, we are keen on who cannot be in that category.
Right.
If you are into professional services, like you are
an MC.
Okay, that's public entertainer.
Yes.
Yeah, public entertainers are not in that space. You're a comedian, you're an artist, you're a dramatist. If you're in public entertainment, we cannot look at you as a small business person. If you are into the provision of public goods, like you're supplying water or electricity, there are people who are, if you step out of Kampala out there, who supply this. You're not. You cannot be looked at. If you're a professional, you're an accountant, you're a lawyer, you're an advisor, insurer, those, consultants, professional. You cannot be a small business person. But besides that, anyone else, you're a garage operator, saloon operator, a restaurant operator, a bar operator, any other form of business, you will enjoy this kind of regime as long as your sales are between 10 to 150 million in a year. So if your sales are between 10 to 150 million in a year, and you're comfortable to only compute and show us the total sales that you made in a year, then your taxes will be looked at based on your sales. Between 10 to 30 million as sales in a year, you pay 80,000 if you have no records.
Hold up. 10,000?
10 million.
80,000?
Yeah.
Now I don't understand why people evade taxes.
Indeed, you will ask yourself, yeah? So if your sales are between 10 million to 30 million, you only pay 80,000. That is if you do not keep records. But if you even have a record telling us how your sales are derived, it is 0.4% of the sales that you made. Now that means if you have a record that shows us that I sold 10 million, the items, and there is a record, you have a book where you kept that, 0.4% on 10 million can be 40,000. Okay?
Interesting, yes.
Yes.
And this is information that people actually are not aware of.
And it is available.
And they keep running away from the taxes.
Indeed, and it's more expensive actually.
When you evade the taxes,
yes, it's more expensive.
That is very true.
Some other clients will come and you've closed shop and okay, yes. So it goes on graduating between 30 to 50 million. If your sales are there, you pay 200,000. You get it, it goes on. Or a lower rate if you are able to show records. So it is that kind of thing. Now in that case, we are talking about this general merchandise, or like we talked, garage and so on, not professional.
Yes.
10 to 50 million sales in a year. Now, that is the only record that may be required, or not even required, if you're willing to just pay the 80,000 and not go through the labor of keeping records. But then we have businesses that are able to tell their profit. As in, the guy is able to compute. He will tell you these are the sales, this is how much I paid for rent, this is how much I paid for security and the salaries for my staff, and my profit at the end of the year is 2 million. 2 million Uganda shillings.
At the end of the year?
Yes. So Chantal, you own a shop and you are able to compute your profits. You have a girl or a boy who keeps your shop. You buy them lunch, you pay for electricity, you pay for rent, transport. So you tell us, in the entire year I sold things worth 20 20 million.
Right.
But if I compute my expenses and I knock off the salary, the lunch, the electricity, everything, it leaves me with a profit of 2.5 million shillings in a year. Chantal, you don't pay tax in that case as an individual, because your profit in that case is below 2,820,000. It's at 2,820,000 is where we start to charge tax on profits from individuals in a year.
That is in a year.
In a year. Okay. Now, averagely in a month, it means you will be making a profit of 235,000. Averagely, I'm putting it because it is easier for us usually to look things within shorter periods.
Shorter period, yes.
Yes. And now you will look at it in a way that this is the person who is in business. Whichever kind of business. It could be farming business, it could be a restaurant, it could be a clothes shop, it could be anything. And that amount, 235,000 that I told you about a monthly earning, applies even to a person who is in employment.
Okay, I was getting there.
Yes. So if my salary is 235,000, it's at that point that I'll be charged tax. Okay, let's look at a school.
Okay.
A school has teachers. If the teachers are paid 300,000, they'll pay tax of their salary.
What percentage of the income is charged in taxes as income tax?
Okay, as in the percentages vary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the percentages vary. It's what we call a progressive tax regime, where the more you earn,
Chantal, the higher the percentage.
The more you pay.
Yes.
Okay. If your salary is below 235,000, you don't pay. You don't pay tax because that income is only enough for you to make it through the month.
But then again, to the detail.
Yes.
If someone earns, say, 1 million shillings,
yes,
and the 1 million shillings is taxed,
yes,
my question would be, have you considered the expenses this person is incurring?
Okay. Now that's where we need to get. Okay, I'll get to that.
Okay.
The reason the first 235,000 that anyone earns is not taxed is to take care of the things. It's what we call a threshold. Usually we say there is a threshold, but ideally it is a starting point on which we say we will start from here to tax income.
Okay.
So the 235,000 that anyone earns is not taxed. The expectation is this is the money that a person needs to make it through a month. Okay?
Okay.
In annualized and put on a year, this is 2,820,000. Okay? Before I think around 2012, that amount was 156,000. I mean, it was 130,000.
That wasn't taxed.
That wasn't taxed. So anyone who was earning above 130,000,
you would be taxed.
You would be paying. Now, after 2012, that is what, 10 years ago?
Yes.
10 years ago.
Yes.
Yes. Now it was increased to 235,000. That anyone earning above 235,000 and above will pay tax. Now, it takes me back to the question that you asked. That so if someone earns 1 million, is he going to be taxed as if he had no costs? Ideally, when you look at this computation, we get the 10 million, I mean the 1 million, and we first subtract
the 235. And then you tax
the rest is what is taxed.
That is the 700 and around something.
Whatever, yes, that sits in there. So it is ideally that, so anyone in earning income, as we are talking about it now as a resident, because if you are a person who comes into Uganda, earns this money and goes back,
yeah.
Excuse me, then you will not, you're not
liable to taxes.
Excuse me, yes, you will be expected to pay all the money. You get it? So I'm just saying,
okay.
If a guy comes into Uganda and earns maybe this income in form of a salary, or we consider them as non-residents, the entire 1 million will be taxed without knocking off the other 235,000.
For non-resident.
Yes, but yes, that is an explanation that we can have maybe at length.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry to cut you short.
Yes.
We first of all we're going to be going for a very short break.
Yes.
And when we come back, there is still more questions that definitely we have.
Yes.
To be answering, especially for Ugandan out there who does not know. I personally did not know that the 235 is first removed from how much I'm earning, and then I thought you tax the whole of it. And of course, I'm interested in the percentages. I'm sure, like you said, there is a threshold. I'm sure there is percentages for the different thresholds. So when we come back from the break, we are going to be talking about some of those, and we are talking about income tax today. Wherever you're working from, there's definitely some tax that you are incurring, and maybe you don't know to the detail or to the core what it should be, and for your own good, and if you are a business owner especially, if you don't want to be in the bad books of URA, you might want to rethink your record keeping practices. Let's get into a very short break. Smart Minutes Business returns.